welcome back to Flying Solo with Kat. And today I'm really excited to talk about the eighth and ninth episode of The Bad Batch. I know I am behind on episodes. It's because I took a break because I had a very great vacation. And I wasn't expecting that the 10th and 11th episode to be released at the same time. And those are pretty big episodes, so I do want to go ahead and leave those for next episode. So just keep that in mind. I will not talk about anything that released this week. I'm only talking about the episodes that released the last 2 weeks. So sit back, relax, and hope you enjoy. So with episode 8, we are back on Pabu. I love just the scenery of this island planet. I've grown to love it. At first, I wasn't too keen on it. I thought, okay, how long are they going to kind of stay here? But it's nice that this is where the clones' base of operations are. I am a bit concerned that the Empire is going to find it and just blow it up. So I don't know if it's gonna survive that long, but I've grown to love it. Fia's back. It was good seeing her, and the fact that she's just helping out the Bad Batch, and like the tech reference to, oh, my heart. It was just amazing. Omega asks about Fennec when trying to understand about the M count and that a lot of bounty hunters should know. And she brought up Fennec Shang, which, if y'all know, Fennec's my girl. I love her so much. She was one of my favorite characters in Book of Boba Fett, and I've learned to love her just throughout Star Wars. Ming-Na Wen is just an amazing actress, and the fact that she got to voice Fennec here is just amazing. She brings so much to the character, and I love her. So, unfortunately, the Bad Batch don't want to trust Fennec, which is totally fair. I don't even know what Fennec's true intentions are even at the end of the episode. But Omega is forced to stay and look after Crosshair, which I thought that was really sweet. That Hunter kind of, he's recognizing that Crosshair is struggling. I'm just hoping that Hunter and Crosshair have some actual interactions with each other. I know, like, a couple episodes ago, they had basically that episode devout to them and their relationship, but I don't know. I feel like I'm missing some more. But Hunter and Wrecker meet with Fennec. They ask about M count, and in turn, Fennec wants them to do a job for her. Then we get back to Crosshair, and basically his hand is more like a mental barrier that he has to cross and not physical. I don't know how I like this development with it being all in his head and not actually like physical, in the sense of like the scientist actually hurt his hand. I think it was an interesting choice. I do wish that they would have kept that, because the whole thing about it is that, without that, Crosshair is useless to the Bad Batch. And even Hunter says that. So them kind of, saying, oh no, it's all in your head. Like, you're still useful to us. You just have to get past that. I do think is just a little weird, in my opinion. I don't think it was insinuating anything or being ableist at all, but it just was like, why don't you continue with the physical and then maybe unlock another ability that Crosshair has? I know he's the sniper, that's the point. Hunter's the tracker, Wrecker's the big guy. Echo's the kind of tech slash aggressive. And then, of course, yeah, so them doing that for Crosshair, I don't know if I like it or not, but the entire message of it worked. It was just for his character. I don't know if they should have gone about it that way or not, but I'm really not mad about it, and I don't think it's anything too, deep. I wouldn't look too much into it. It's just I personally would have liked if it was physical and Crosshair would have had to live with that and understand that, you have other opportunities to be useful, and at the same point, you don't need to be useful for them to still be your brothers. Um, so we move on from that. Mega's really trying to help him. Hunter and Wrecker go to the swamp planet, which I really liked. It was just giving me New Orleans Bayou vibes, and they had these huge crocodile things, which were basically crocodiles. I don't think they were like, it didn't honestly give the vibe of Star Wars, and I kind of liked that, selfishly, because just how Fennec was and just this toxic planet, it was pretty cool. Um, Fennec, they ask, "Oh, you're working for the Empire," and Fennec, says, "Well, no, I work with whoever's the highest bidder." And Crosshair and Wrecker are like, "Hmm," and she says, "Good guys, bad guys, it's all the same." And this, oh my God, DJ reference. I always have to connect it to the sequel trilogy, but this, I think a lot of people forget, like, that war is very profitable on both sides, and it was touched a lot on in The Last Jedi. Heavily, heavily, heavily. And it was even touched on a bit in The Rise of Skywalker, with different sides not wanting to help the Resistance because the First Order just paid super, super well. And it made planets comfortable. It wasn't great. It was just like the Empire. And that was the same thing for the Empire, was that, it was for the higher ups, it was comfortable. And they, fed money to the rebellion, and they fed money to the Empire. I mean, you can't just say, oh no, the rebellion just used, whatever they had. No, they wouldn't have won the war that way. Even Mon Mothma says we have allies in in multiple different places with different people. And it's, especially with negotiations with different things, it's very money based. And a lot of times we see in Andor as well, that Cassian wanted to do it because of money. And a lot of people a part of Cassian's group were doing it because of money, not because of the true sense of rebellion. Not Nemec, we love him, but everyone else was kind of just doing it for that money. So her saying that, I'm glad that Star Wars acknowledges that and is kind of leaning into that more, because it's so integral. And just the facts of that war is profitable on both sides. And, you kind of lose your morals when, there are no good guys or bad guys. It's all war. So I just thought that was great, because it just reminded me of The Last Jedi, and I was like, oh, the movie was pretty good. So that was good. The praying mantis thing was freaking creepy. That creeped me out. I did not like him at all. Yeah, no, I did not like that. At least they captured him. Like, I was like, hey, thank God they didn't die. But I was kind of like on the edge of my seat the entire episode 8, which was really nice. And I liked the action. I liked that we were back with the action. And I know this episode was very much of a filler episode, but I feel like I kind of needed that to, you know, let everything kind of go, and, just enjoy some basic Clone Wars action. So I enjoyed that. The meditation to heal Crosshair's mind, I really liked. I think how Omega went about it, and Crosshair's initial drawbacks to it and thinking it was stupid. I am a huge, huge activist for mental health and for. I've tried meditation. I think it works if you're in the right mindset. For me, my brain just moves way too fast. So meditation hasn't quite worked for me yet, but I haven't truly sat down and tried it every day. But of course, y'all know I'm in therapy. I'm very much of a supporter of therapy, and I think that no matter what you're going through, it's such a good resource to talk to people. And, with meditation, it's very much more singular, but I loved how Omega stayed with him through that. And with the sunrise on Pabu, it was just very emotionally well done. And that's what I love about The Bad Batch. If we go back to season 2, the text scene with Omega in the cave where he says that he processes different moments differently, but it doesn't mean he feels any differently. Um, I mean, that one hit me really hard. And I think a lot of people in the community, um, it hit really close to home of the sense of, people process things totally different, but in the end, we're kind of all through this together. And with Omega, what I love about her and what I always try to be and what everyone kind of should do is, you try to understand and you try to always learn and be open minded. And that is why I think Omega is one of the strongest characters in the Bad Batch, but all of Star Wars. And why I love so many of these characters is that they are so understanding, and even if they don't get it the first time, they try to understand and try to help as much as they can. And with Omega, Crosshair wasn't really giving her anything. He didn't want to do anything. He just wanted to wallow. And Omega, offered her help and tried, really, really tried to help as much as she could. And I think that was so admirable for her and for her character to help Crosshair go over that bound. So that was great. They come back with Fennec, and she says she'll keep in touch. I was a little mad at my girl. I'm like, come on. They've been through so much, Fennec. Just, give them a little thing. And she calls someone. I don't know who this person is, if it's the person we see in episode 9, or if it's someone else. I don't know. I personally, I know Fennec, and I don't think it was the Empire, but at the same time, I don't know if it was, spoilers, Asajj Ventress, who we see in episode 9. So I think it might, if we don't get answers to who Fennec called originally, I think it's kind of expected that it is Asajj Ventress that she called. So I'm kind of thinking that, but I'm also like, did she call somebody else? Boba Fett. I don't know. It could be. And I'd love to see Boba show up. I know people are so done with him, but I love Boba Fett. So, on to episode 9. Omega just walks into a cave. I don't know what she's doing. But Batcher's standing at the edge, really scared, and Omega's like, yeah, no, I'll go check it out. Girl, what are you doing? So I was just shocked that she just went and did that. I'm like, oh, no. No, no, no. So that was a little concerning. And then Asajj Ventress ship, I actually really liked the design of it. Ventress Queen is there, and not gonna lie, I thought she was gonna kill Omega. But she explains the M count, so I do think that it was kind of Fennec, because how could she have known, and she even said, I believe, that Fennec sent her, or she was sent, or they said, are you sent by Fennec? And she kind of said something along those lines. So I do think she was full-on sent by Fennec, but at the same time, I'm not quite sure where that leads them. So she explains the M count. Omega asks to be trained. And I think the M count for Omega is a choice. I don't dislike it, but I'm also kind of sick, I guess, of just Force-sensitive people. But they explained this very well, and I do give props to the writers of The Bad Batch. That Ventress says that you do have M count, but you need to unlock it. Everyone has M count. I think that's what we kind of miss, especially with the movies, and why people are so pissed off at certain characters. And it's like, wait, hold on. Everyone has M count. They just need to be trained. And what's great, and what honestly pisses a lot of people off, is sometimes certain situations can unlock certain abilities. And I think people kind of miss that, to where you do need training, but at the same time, it depends on how high your M count is. Omega's M count, I think she said, was pretty low. But if she wanted to unlock more of it, she would just have to train constantly and honestly leave the Bad Batch, which she didn't want to do. With Rey, which a lot of people were arguing about, I don't know why, but Rey, she probably had a higher M count. That was just suppressed. I mean, think of how long she was alone on Jakku. I don't think she actively tried to use the Force, for herself. And after seeing Kylo Ren and what he did, she kind of copied that and thought, oh, I might be able to do that. So, was it necessarily characterized as well in the 2.5 hour movie? No, you can't. But with The Bad Batch, I think this episode actually really stuck its nails into M Count and what it's for, what it can do to you, and who has it. So that was great. It was totally giving Luke and Rey vibes. I think Asajj Ventress kind of just being this old, I mean, she's still queen, but giving this like old master training this young, not really knowing much about the Force. Omega has no patience whatsoever. And Rey is kind of the same in The Last Jedi, and, wanting to just immediately kind of connect with the Force and do that. And I think what works for this is I think the writers knew they didn't want Omega to be a Jedi or to be Force sensitive in the sense of having the Force. With Rey, we knew that's where she was going to go. She needed to bring Ben Solo back. That was the whole point. So for her, with Rey, you have less of a time to really dive into the logistics of an M count, of her actually training. While with Omega, you get to see her struggles with that. And I do think that is a difference in perception of the story. That with the movie, you only have so much time dedicated to Rey training with Luke. And then you have the battle with Snoke. That's literally what Rey does in this movie. And then also Force Skypes Kylo. But in that sense, you only have that amount of time to have her quote unquote train, right? Which is not a lot of time when you have so many other characters doing so many different things. You can't dedicate the entire episode to Rey. You can only give her about 50 minutes out of that entire 2.5 hours. So I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but that's kind of just the difference between movie and TV. And with TV, you get to really show the struggle, what the character is truly thinking. We get to have time with that character. So, I did not mean to go on a rant about Last Jedi, but yeah, I liked everything that they did in this episode. Avengers uses hand-to-hand combat to defeat the Bad Batch. Queen, love her. I love the OG clone theme when they went up against Ventress and when they were just all standing there. I was like, oh my gosh, Clone Wars? Clone Wars? And it was just, oh, I got this nostalgia. It was the best. Um, Omega thinks Ventress has changed. She brings up a really good point, and the clones are like, but she was part of the separatist movement. And Omega, actually takes a second. She's like, I completely understand that, and I know that I wasn't, necessarily in that war. I didn't fight in that war, but look how you guys have changed. You didn't kill, the Jedi. You didn't do what other clones have done. You moved past that. And I love Omega. She just sees the good in everyone, which can get her into a lot of trouble, but it's Star Wars. You got to kind of have those people that see the good in others. And I think that's with so many protagonists that, this story does. I mean, you go back to OT, and Luke, he saw the good in Darth Vader, which not a lot of people could do. And that just stems from George's original story of, trying to move past what people have done and seeing the good in them and moving forward. And I just thought that was characterized really well in this episode, to give Ventress a chance. Then Omega tries reaching out and just gives up blatantly. And at that point in the episode, I was like, okay, she's not becoming a Jedi. She just doesn't have, the thing in it. And I think for me, like, I would love, in a story sense to, have this M count, have this power, and want to train to become a Jedi because that's so cool. But with Omega, you think she's a clone. She's always been a clone. She will always be a clone, and she's with her brothers. That's what she loves doing, and that's the connection that she has. Her hearing Jedi and her hearing training, she's like, no, why would I want to do that? If I just want to know why the Empire is after me, but not to move further and actually train to become a Jedi. So I thought that was characterized great. Ventress calls upon the ocean in a very therapeutic scene, and just seeing her use the Force and being kind of calm, but also have kind of that anger within herself is great. A lot of people are calling her a gray Jedi. Gray Jedis do not exist. I want to establish that. In personal headcanons, totally do a gray Jedi. I love doing some gray Jedis, but in the sense you have light and dark. That's the whole basis of it. But what's really cool and what we've seen in Knights of the Old Republic, and I believe even some High Republic, is that people can use dark side and light side together. But that does not identify them as a gray Jedi. You are either more of, using more of the light side or using more of the dark side. And it's more in, your motivation to use the Force and why you're doing all of this. So, with Ventress, I'm still not quite sure. I love her yellow lightsaber. It's so good to see another yellow lightsaber. I'm obsessed with Rey's lightsaber at the end of Rise of Skywalker, so it was so good to see another one out there. And I know we're going to see more in Acolyte, because that's been released as well. I need to talk about that soon. But yeah, it was great to see her just move, the ocean in that sense. The Crosshair Ventress ship, I know they touched hands for a second, but my entire being is, shipping two people together that either quote unquote hate each other or have, very little no scenes together. And I saw people already shipping it, and I'm here for it. I think Crosshair and Ventress their personalities in a sense too fit really well together, and just their history, oh my gosh, send me the links. It's perfect, and I think they're so cute. So I hope we see them again together, but if not, I think it was just a really cute ship that the community came together with, and super cute. The music for this episode too was really good. I think they took Ventress's theme and just really worked it in, and having that dark undertone, kind of very subtle in the sense to where we didn't really know where her true motivations were, but then with the ocean scene, we got to really experience the full calmness of Asajj Ventress, and like, oh no, she's changed. She's not the separatist, Padawan Dooku killing clone person. She's grown, and she's learned a lot, probably about herself and about the Force, which I think was what was needed for Asajj Ventress. And I'm glad that Dave brought her back. I know he wanted to bring her back in a lot of episodes in the Clone Wars. Especially after that whole thing with Dooku, and then her kind of helping Obi-Wan and Ahsoka with that. But I'm happy that she kind of got her aftermath of, this. I have not read the book. I need to get on that, because I've heard it's an amazing book. But just seeing her again, and it was just such a fun episode to just have a cameo. I know that pisses a lot of people off too. Why do we need cameos? Oh my god, Star Wars. But why don't you just shut up and enjoy the piece of media that you're consuming? Because truly, it was great, and I was very surprised of how they handled everything with her. And I hope to see her again. Probably it won't be in this season, but maybe in a spin-off show of Asajj Ventress. I do think they might do that for animation. So very, very exciting. Let me know what you guys thought on episode 8 and 9. I kind of already know what happens next um 2 episodes, or technically this week's 2 episodes. Bad Batch spoilers are like the worst on Twitter, and I'm constantly on Twitter. So I just know really bad things happen. Yeah, I'm not gonna say more than that, just in case you guys haven't seen it. But I know some stuff goes down. So I'm interested to see how the Bad Batch handle that, and where that will leave them for the 12th and, you know, so on so forth episodes. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. I'm really hoping to do some an acolyte video talking about the acolyte, what's been announced, showing some photos, and then we got Tales of the Empire trailer released yesterday, and that will release on May the 4th. I will be busy on May the 4th, not doing Star Wars things, which I feel like it's sacrilegious. But it is a very important event, and I have to support someone, of course. But um, I really do want to do a video talking about Tales of the Empire, and just honestly the Tales um, series as a whole. Because Tales of the First Order, Tales of the Resistance, Tales of the Rebellion. I mean, come on, in the Clone Wars style, like, please, can we get Tales of the First Order, and then have, oh my god, you already know what I'm gonna say, so I'm gonna save that for next video. But I want it so bad. And actually, it's been not that long since we got Tales of the Jedi. It's been about a year. So I think that they've been working on this for, that break. And I'm really excited because I even said last Bad Batch episode that I was concerned of where the animation was going to go for Lucasfilm. We had nothing announced. And there was no really clear way to know what stories would be told next. But we got Tales of the Empire. I'm so excited. So we'll talk about that in an upcoming video. So just stay tuned if y'all could like and subscribe. I know I hate saying that phrase, but it really does help. And, gives me the opportunity to make more videos. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening, and I will see